You're looking, growing, creating more good and living, thinking, healing, loving, loving, doing, writing, while black.
All right, we're back. It's season 2 of Writing While Black. And today we are talking about A Sky Full of Elephants by Cebo Campbell. I am Angela, your host, and your co-host today is Ayoka B, author. Are you excited?
I'm excited.
All
I'm
right.
excited. This book, yeah.
I want to, in the same way that we did when we discussed Forever, I want to do part of it spoiler free and then jump later into the details.
Okay.
So before we even start, is there anything that you want to say about what you're working on? What's hot with your publishing catalog? What's hot with what's upcoming or going on with your author life? What's up?
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I am working on the spinoff to Love at Second Sight. Mike's story doesn't really have a title yet. It's untitled. So I'm getting into his character in first person. So that's exciting. It's on my mind a lot, which is just odd because it's a man. So yeah, there's that. And I have my book event, as you know, is in August.
Okay.
Here, people are starting to sign up. You know, I opened it up. It's a local event. There are people who want to travel here for the event, so that's exciting.
I mean, who doesn't want to come to Costa Rica?
Well,
Everybody
you
want to
know,
come to Costa Rica,
I
girl.
thought I wasn't sure. I thought I was helping announcing it 6 months in advance to give people time, get their coins together, you know, make their arrangements. That was
You don't know who's watching off in the cut. Like, okay,
That's true.
they may not have let you know, but they know.
That's true. I wanted to give plenty of time because there's a room block and an early bird discount. So I wanted to the host hotel to decide. I'm gonna do a little video and say, hey, we're about to release that room block. So
Yeah. The rooms in that space is so beautiful. I love that space. Some people may not understand the seriousness of missing out on the room block.
right. I hear that. I've been showing the space, but not the actual room. So I'm gonna go within the next week and do a video saying,
Or two.
this is the beautiful space. Get with it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what's going on for me. Oh, and one last thing. This is next year. Be in my hometown, the Chocolate City Literature Fest
The
is
Chocolate City Lit. Okay.
so I'm gonna be featured there. I'm a author, so I'm gonna be featured there. This is the first year. This
Oh,
will
okay.
be the first year. It's a new
Okay.
event. So I'm excited about that. That's in 2026. So
2026. What month in 2026 did you say?
it's April. So I'm excited because Mike's story will be out by then.
Oh,
Or at
okay.
least on pre-order. So I would be promoting the two,
Okay.
the duo, and my
Okay.
poetry as well. So I'm excited about that. Yes.
Okay.
That's
That's
my
exciting.
update.
That's exciting. That's exciting. All right. I need to get on the next Black Writers Group anthology. The first was My Identity. The second was Black Love, and this one is Our Freedom, which is about black sitting, being a refugee or not a refugee, an expat, getting out of Dodge, going back to home or going to a new home. So black us finding our freedom. Give us free. Give us free.
Oh, I gotta submit something for that.
So the
The
deadline
first
for submissions is the 15th of June. We're still a month out. I did one layer of promo, but I need to be more on the promo for that. And this time around, I want to start laying it out now because I have a couple submissions, so I could really be working on it now.
Okay.
That's it. I'm excited about that. I like it. I like the I like the process. The end product.
Okay, I'm gonna put you on the spot though. What about your writing, Angela?
Well, this is going to be the first anthology where some of my fiction is on in there instead of nonfiction. In terms of me, I have been working on Love Soiree. That's going to be my first fiction piece on the scene, Love Soiree. And it's still, and I've been saying this for months, it's so close to being finished. I am fluffing out characters. Some of the questions that I had when I'm rereading it, working with it, I'm trying to fill in. I have not been on it the way that I need to be on it. We're in the month of May. So I should probably just say that it's going to be out for my birthday, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. It would be good for it to come out in the summer, but girl, it's so much going on in my life. I told you the other day I got some information about dad, so I have to travel again. We had a death in the family. So the combination of life and then also the combination of there's almost something
scared now.
I was just gonna say there's almost something in me that's like and I think that's the core of it. As writers, yeah, don't be scared now, but we deal with all kinds of different stuff as creators. Even as an actor, always right before I go on stage, even though I've been rehearsing and I'm ready, there's something in me that's like absolutely like paralyzed. But I've never not gone on stage, but that moment right before, I feel like I ain't going on. It's not going to be me. I'm about to leave, but I still go. So I might be in that for writing. Like, I ain't going on. I'm about to leave. Forget it. I ain't publishing nothing. But we're working on it. I need to get a realistic deadline going and work for the deadline. I'm too good with deadlines.
Do you have some ARC readers?
I don't have ARC readers officially yet. I want to get it to. I want to get one layer of editing first before I get it to the ARC readers. But I don't know because in terms of scheduling the editing, I don't know if that's going to work. So maybe I'll get it to ARC readers first. But it's like getting a chapter done and ready. That's when I was doing it on Kindle Vella, that was doable. But there's something about the totality of the project where I feel like I can read a chapter from beginning to end, but reading the book from beginning to end, and this is the flow in one fell swoop and keeping it in my consciousness, I just feel like it's too much. It's too much. But I read other people's books in one fell swoop and keep everything in the flow. I'm working on my mind. I'm working on getting my mind right. So, all right. Thank you for asking. So that's our updates as writers. And then I want to, now the next segment, let me see. Now we're going to move on to the next segment where we're going to focus on our book this week. Our guest is the book Sky Full of Elephants and Cebo Campbell. Okay, so the first part, I want us to talk about what we really liked about the book. Spoiler free, what was your favorite thing about the book? What impressed you most? What was most striking to you?
The premise was my favorite thing in the book. And just the idea, because it's so huge, of what it would be like for that level of freedom for Black people, to not have to consider being inside the system anymore in the U.S. And so that, to me, it was mind-blowing. Like, and how would you reframe your life? That was my favorite part. I told you I got all the stickies, all the annotations, but that was my favorite. That idea.
Wait a second. Don't tell me, dear writer. Show me your book with all those annotations, Miss Academia. Look at that. I love it.
These were my favorite ones. Shut it down, drop the mic. These two.
Okay.
These are scratch your head. I love this section of prose. The orange is I love this prose. The yellow is make you say, quote. These are drop the mic
moments. Orange is your favorite color, so your favorite parts are in orange.
The
Okay.
Crow. Yes.
Okay. So I think that my favorite thing about the book is similar to yours. My favorite thing is not exactly about the book, but about the author and the author's attempt to imagine a world where black us is free. Imagine a world that is created by black us. Imagine us freely creating and living and being, or somewhat freely creating and living and being. And it's something that if I was like the queen of all black writers, then I would be like, all black writers, this is the work that we must do. We have to visualize us happy and free and joyous and in love. If we're not doing that in our work, what are we doing, writers? So
Right.
that was my favorite part. He made a valiant attempt, and it was really, really effective in some aspects for me in terms of engaging in that act. So that was very striking to me. And the other thing is, we were traveling. We had a 4-hour ride to the airport, and I picked the book up when I got in the shuttle. The shuttle comes at 6 in the morning. I haven't slept the night before. I'm tired. I picked that book up when I got on the shuttle, and I did not put it down. I read that book straight through. That was kind of surprising to me because I was thinking I would start reading it and fall asleep. I was starting it to like help me relax and wind down, like, okay, girl, you can go to sleep now. We on the road. But I kept turning pages. I wanted to know. So I think that that was really effective. That part of the book was really good for me. So what was most challenging to you about the book, or what did you dislike, or what were you like, boo, if anything? Spoiler free though, spoiler free.
Spoiler free.
You can say a name of a character.
Sydney was giving me some issues for a minute. Yeah, she was giving me some issues for a minute. I was getting frustrated with her. Also, as I got further along in the book, I had to remind myself of her upbringing
Mm,
and what was ingrained in her, and give her some grace because she was starting to realize that life was not what she thought it was,
mm-hmm,
and starting to, well, she needed to know herself. When you don't know
mm.
yourself, I mean,
You ain't got nothing if you don't know
right.
yourself.
Exactly. So I had an arc.
Mm-hmm.
I had an arc in that, and that's the thing that comes to mind. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now it's interesting because immediately, as soon as I met her, I think because I'm a Cancer and I tend to be very compassionate, so she wasn't irritating me. She was not my favorite thing, but she wasn't irritating me because I'm like, this child got issues, obviously. Listening to my husband when he was listening to it, oh, she irritated him from the beginning to the end. He could never, from my perspective, watching him, understand what you're saying. Like this child grew up a certain way, and that's just how it. But anyway, my least favorite part of the book was her, that there was a biracial lead character. Initially, I thought that the lead character was the man. In retrospect, I knew more about her character than her the man. And so that made her the main character for me. And that was really irritating. I'm like, I wanted it to be black us. It felt like there's always that presence there. And how do we get free of it to really figure out who we are? That aspect of the character, and that she was so present. She was a substitute for the sows, and she certainly played her role well as a substitute for the sows. So that was the thing that I liked least about the book. Is there anything else overall that you want to say before we start getting into the cauliflower and potatoes of it? I was going to say the meat and potatoes, but you know I'm a vegetarian. I need to try to readjust my language. The cauliflower and the potatoes and the string beans and the melon and the pineapple of it.
Um, I did. I liked how he showed the family when they went back to their roots. So before the event, are we still supposed to be spoiler free or
I don't
what?
know. I feel like it's a gray area. I was gonna
Yeah.
say, is there anything else spoiler free you want to say before we jump into the?
Okay. I really liked that this family felt the need to leave the United States and go to at least the mother of the family's roots in Haiti. And they needed to do that for their family. I like that aspect, especially because of our position as people who left. And I really appreciated that. I appreciated him writing about it and the way he wrote about it. Like
Mm,
the way he wrote about it and the words he used and the way that the different family members described it to other people. They talked about it like an awakening, like that was
mm-hmm.
their first time really knowing themselves. And so I appreciated that because I'm always hoping that people was going to get out, they're going to get out. So so I really like that.
Okay. I think I really like the family aspect. There were several like mother, daughter, father person, family relationships, community. I like seeing the community relationships. Even in the airport scene, I felt like it was a family and a community. So I really enjoyed that aspect of the book. I'm not a science fiction person. When I read a book, if I can't pronounce something, it doesn't really bother me, or if I don't understand something, I can just easily skip over it. The scientific aspect or the explanation of what the event was, I couldn't tell you. I have no idea. I don't even care because by then I was already into the other stuff and it didn't hamper my ability to appreciate the book. I'm much more into the characters. I'm reading a mystery. I don't care who did it. I really don't, and I'm probably not trying to figure it out. I'm like I read Easy Rawlins, Walter Mosley. I read that for the characters.
How you don't care who did it?
Girl, I don't be caring at all. I don't be caring. I don't give a damn. They could just take that whole part out, and I would still read it. If a book is heavily about the science, or if it was about the event, I probably would have like because I wasn't really paying attention. If I'm watching a movie and there's a fight scene, we watched Sinners last night. Girl, the scene when they was fighting, I picked up my phone and I was doing other stuff. Just wake me when they're done and let me know who won. Sitting there watching this person knock that person out and this they kicked them and all of that. I don't care. I just really don't care.
Okay.
I don't like a car chase. I don't enjoy it. This book had that, but it was like small. I was already into the characters, so I like that.
In terms of writing, I really enjoy Cebo Campbell's writing, and
Mhm.
he is very good at description, making you see what he wants you to see. And the way that he described, where are they going? Alabama? It was Alabama, right? The way that they described Alabama, he was with so much love and care and tenderness, and the way that he described the feeling and everything you saw and everybody you met. I really enjoyed his writing with that. And then you were talking about characters. His character development is awesome. So just from a writer's perspective, I wanted to put those two things out there. You're muted.
Fist
Oh,
in the air, fist in the air. I already said that it drew me in against my will. So I feel like it was well written and I definitely enjoyed it and I wanted to know
don't
what
say
happened
against
next.
your
And
will.
because I was like, oh, I'll start reading this and I'm probably gonna fall asleep. And then I want to
Right.
read it, but I didn't think that I was gonna read it then. And there was one point where I was expecting one thing and I got something totally different. I really enjoyed that. I'm not a twist person. I like romance. Novels are predictable.
Mhm.
So I don't mind something being predictable. In this case, I really enjoyed being pleasantly surprised by what unfolded. So there were a couple times when I was like, oh, is this what we doing? And I was like, okay, this is what we're doing. Let's do this. So that was really, really nice. The characterization of Black Us rang true in terms of the compassion, the creativity, our confusion sometimes, and our lostness sometimes. I saw all of that in the book, and it rang true for who we are. Okay, so those are reviews without spoiling too much.
Okay.
So if you haven't read the book, dear listener, and you prefer to read the book without spoilers, and this is your time to go and read the book and then come back to us in like 9 hours when you finish reading the book.
Right.
Come right back here after you finish. So let's get into let's just talk about it. You can read your favorite parts. You have stuff so impressive.
I,
All right. There's something you want to read.
okay. Yes. There's something I want to read. And it jumped out to me because they were talking about DC. I don't know. It says, Charlie took in the city on his way out. Even at the early hour, DC pulsed. Gospel music spilled out of barbershops. Electric scooters zoomed down sidewalks and bike lanes. A line of people wrapped around a McDonald's with its arches torn down, where somebody's grandma captained the city, making enough cheese grits and biscuits to fill the neighborhood. I love that. Oh my goodness. The city almost resembled life before the event, with subtle differences. There were no more homeless people. Less trash littered the shoulders because no one mass-produced single-use plastics and containers anymore. The biggest difference, he determined, was better felt than seen. The only word he could think to describe life was easier. On the rare occasion that he spoke to someone about the event, most of them would lower their eyes, say how big a shame it all was, but go on to soberly acknowledge how free they felt. Free to walk alone at night, free to climb a tree, free to fall asleep somewhere in the sun, freedom that inspired them to change their names, calling themselves after plants and animals, looking, Charlie suspected, to reclaim something true about themselves that now they could. Yes. That was one of my pink ones.
Yeah, that's pretty. I don't think I was as conscious when I was reading it of the language as listening back. I'm like, oh, like I love that somebody's made enough biscuits and grits. Is that what he said?
Yeah,
Fancy weezy grits.
She took over the McDonald's.
Right.
Grandma was in there making breakfast. That's what I'm talking about. For
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah. Listening to the passage you just read made me think about the fact that this is like first generation after a trauma. And so it makes me curious about those who will be born who won't have a comparison. It won't be easier, it'll just be life. And so what will their experience be? What will their worldview be without having any comparison and just being free? I feel like we should have a theme song for this episode, or I have a theme song for this episode, so I'm going to share it. Do you know what song I'm thinking about when we're talking? Because you're like a music person.
I'm not sure that I do.
Nina Simone's "I Wish I Knew How It Would Feel to Be Free" is the song that it makes me want to read the lyrics as we're talking. I'm like, wait, I got to stop and listen to that song, but I'm not going to do that. But I'll probably listen after. In terms of what I didn't like, or what was challenging for me, I felt like, okay, the character of Sydney, not so much the character of Sydney, because to me, she felt like exactly who she should be given how she was raised. There are a couple different ways it could go given how she was raised, but the way that it went, it didn't surprise me, and it rang true. I'm like, yeah, that makes total sense. But as I was saying before, this feeling of there was a white person throughout the whole book because her mind, in my opinion, was white. She was definitely behaving like a white person, thinking like a white person, seeing black people through the eyes of white people. When she almost killed that child or wanted to shoot that child, I was like, huh?
That, yeah. That's why I was like, okay.
Her
Okay.
brain is
I'm a,
totally.
I'm a stick with it. Yeah.
But we didn't have to. That didn't happen. But that the fact that she was constantly and continuously bringing us the white gaze, I was like, please, let's be done with this. And so one of the things that I have heard said is that it's a wedge. So by her being biracial, her dad was black, although it wasn't even a balanced thing because she had no relationship with her father.
Right.
She had no relationship with blackness except through the lens of anti-blackness. And also her anti-blackness toward herself and others, anti-blackness toward her and other black folks. So it wasn't even balanced. She was just white to me. She was white with some black in her. I loved her. How her father cared for her. Not like he loved, but how he took care of her, how he handled her, how he cared for her. I really appreciated that. Riffing on the scene that you read in DC, when they got to the airport and the people were frying chicken and the way that things were set up, you come, you hang out for 7 days or 4 days or whatever. If you can get a flight out, you can. If not, before you get in, you drop the car and you can pick up another car on the other side if you need a car. All of that stuff, I loved how the author imagined the details of a world that was created by us or
Right.
was run by us.
Everything was communal. Yeah.
Everything was communal, and I loved the way he went into the details and explored some of it. That airport scene, that was one of my favorite scenes. I didn't have any idea what to expect, but I definitely wasn't expecting that. And it was a really, really pleasant surprise. So I have one other thing that surprised me. Were you, when you saw the airport scene, or was it something that you were like, this fits, this makes sense?
I felt like it fit. I felt like it fit. Like that scene I read, I wanted to see more of how things were different. Because when they were in downtown Chicago, it was like everything was kind of the same, functioning the same as before. And I was glad when we saw the changes that were made, how people were living differently and reimagining what things could be.
So when they were like, there's a king in Alabama, and Alabama is a no-fly zone, and you can't go, don't nobody want to go to Alabama, but maybe that guy will take you because he do some crazy stuff. I was thinking, oh Lord, what's going to be going on in Alabama?
I thought it was going to be like a white monarchy in Alabama.
Right.
Like closer to where she was trying to go, to wherever, Orange Beach.
I don't think I was thinking of a white monarchy. I think I was thinking of a crazy black person who was running things and like, I'm the king and I got 18 wives. And you know how sometimes we have cults in the black community, or in my opinion they're cults, and they be out here doing some cuckoo crazy stuff. I thought it was going to be some of these people who have ideas that have been allowed to fully blossom and express themselves without inhibition, and it was going to be crazy. I really, really loved what we got when we got to Alabama. Yeah. You mentioned that the people had a relationship with Haiti. Haiti is my mini mothership, emotionally and mentally, because of the Haitian Revolution, the connection of African spirituality to the Haitian Revolution, the art of Haiti, the spirit of Haiti, the fact that they were like, okay, we'll help in Central America, but you got to let the black folks that y'all holding captive, you got to give us free. And even though they did their part, of course, the white people didn't keep their word, but that there was that mindset. Any black person who reaches the shores of free Haiti is free. So I'm like, yes, Haiti. I love that aspect of it. And the king, there was also a queen. I've heard lots of critiques about the book, and some of them involve the queen just allowed to like sit around in a circle and smoke weed with her girls. That she wasn't really about nothing. Now that's not how I interpreted it at all, but I have heard that critique.
I seldom read any critiques because
Right.
they usually annoy the shit out of me. So I don't read. I like to judge something on my own. I don't read any critiques, so I haven't read anything about it. But the queen, to me, she put all this shit together.
Uh-huh.
What do you mean she didn't do anything?
Right.
What struck me as funny is that everybody knew about a king. Nobody talked about the queen because the assumption is that the king is the one in charge. You didn't even know about a queen until you got there and heard about that. But the queen is who you went in front of with your wishes or what you wanted to happen. And that's where Sydney had to go to get permission to go to the place that she asked her dad to take her. It's interesting, I'm getting off topic now. From the beginning, when she said her aunt was there, I was like, oh, okay, so auntie got one drop or something because she ain't walk in the water. So she ain't who she thought she was.
No,
So who
my
was she
theory.
down there
No,
with?
my theory is that her aunt was passing. Her aunt knew she had African ancestry, but was denying it. Just like Sydney knew she had black in her. But I thought that aunt, even though she might look white, that she knew that she was hyper conscious of her, and so that's why her ass wasn't in the water. Shoot, she the main one who should have been in the water. But anyway.
But see, I thought,
The main one.
so I was surprised when they got to Orange Beach because the aunt left her the note and said, if you get this, meet me there. I thought there were going to be, well, I mean, it was a community that was structured after how it was before the event. But I thought there were going to be more people, and maybe there were, we just weren't directly told. I thought there were going to be more people like her who looked white, but they passed. I thought it was going to be the whole community of people like that, but I think it was just a community of people who they had no idea what to do now that all the white people were gone. I mean, what are we supposed to do? Their minds were so locked up that they made a replica of what it was before with the Starbucks and the this and the that. And it was weird. When you read it, it was weird. So I don't even know what page that would be on, but it was weird.
And I didn't quite understand. The aunt came and left a note for this little teenage girl and said, if you get there, she ain't knock on the gate, she ain't come get her. Just like her daddy took her cross country, she ain't. But
I didn't understand that either. I'm like, well, why? Because when the girl thought about it, she said that she heard an alarm or something, which made her go look, and that's when she saw the note. And why did she not come get the girl?
Because her mind, she was acting white. She ain't even helped the child. It's like, it's the two of us together. Well, let's be together. Let's show some. But even when she got to Orange Beach, when I met her aunt, it totally makes sense because her aunt was about her aunt. She ain't give a damn about that child.
No, not at well, we kind of already knew that because you didn't come get your family to make sure she was safe. She up in there by herself, going crazy, not knowing what to do. Like, where they do that at? Well, I know where they do it. But
I think her aunt was my least favorite character in the book. Like, ugh, she was just the worst to me.
Yeah.
Who knows how she grew up and what shaped her to be the person that she was? We have to assume that it was the system of white supremacy.
Right.
So in Alabama, I liked the area where the people would sit with the people and talk with them. The healing camp.
The garden, yeah, where they would go and work in the earth to reconnect to it. And then they would be partnered up with somebody that was already free and kind of talk them through it or just help them get it out.
Liked his imagination of like how we could heal, how we could transition from being locked up to getting more freedom. I thought that was a beautiful concept. Okay. Any of them tabs you want to pull out or something
Well,
else?
after I do this, I want to go back to Alabama because you just talked about Alabama, and I found this one about Orange Beach, and I don't want to stay here. It says, Sydney scanned the busy but hushed city, aware of the pronounced difference between it and Mobile's electric streets. She could feel the tension. A collection of laws, beliefs, and stereotypes wound tight with the maintenance of its own form, wound tight with all the ways a thing could be, a thing should be, tighter still in the faith that this was the way things had always been, a world safe in a firm grip. She didn't see white, but she felt the force of it, like seeing a childhood toy as an adult, knowing all the places you've changed by seeing how an old thing hadn't changed at all. So that was her feeling when she got to Orange Beach, which, also showed her arc because she said she could feel it. She could feel that lock on her. She could feel the whiteness. Although she didn't see it because there weren't white people, but she could feel it. Yeah, that was a yellow tab. My other solitary pink tab was another drop the mic moment for me. And it's talking about Charlie, who is Sydney's father, who to me he was still the main character in my readings. It says Charlie regarded Harold with the same wonder he had his students back at Howard. No war of darkness inside him. Charlie found himself struck by just how bright Harold seemed to be, and comfortable most of all in his skin, in his time, in the radius of his being. His darkness did not gnarl up inside him. Indeed, his darkness was his aura, and his darkness wasn't dark at all, not in the manner Charlie had resolved himself to believe, but thick and lustrous, a refined transmission of space itself. At once, Charlie envied him, glorified him, feared him, and loved him like his own son. But Harold paid Charlie no mind. He just munched away on his persimmon, his face tilted up at the sun. Young black boys, Charlie thought, the most marvelous beings in the universe. As nonchalantly as Harold bit into that fruit, did black boys ever ponder their influence on the whole world. How effortlessly they rounded the shape of the earth with their swagger and illuminated its days with their creativity. Their hope, Charlie mused, offered even the bleakest parts of our planet a second sun. If that ain't a drop, I got goosebumps. If that ain't a drop the mic moment right there, you better write that, Cebo. You better write that story. Listen. Okay, the goosebumps are still there. I'm probably going to read this again, people, okay? Because, yes, I might do like Angela when she says she skipped through parts. I might skip through some Sydney parts like this and get to the good part. Woo, Lord, okay.
That's
And
beautiful.
later in page, they talk about the name, where the title comes from. But I don't know if you really get the title. If I were to just read that, I think you have to kind of be in the book to appreciate, you know. So I didn't continue down the page. But that right there, what I just read, people, if you want some more of that, you better read this book. You need to get this book. If you haven't, you better get this. Listen, I first heard of this book from Emily
Well, we had
Rumble.
lit therapy.
Yes, and when she gave a book prescription, you asked her for a book prescription for black people. And this was one of the books that she gave that black people need to read. I concur. I looked it up after that recording with her, and I was like, oh, I need to get this book. And I used Libby for the DC library, and it had come up for me, but I passed on it because I knew my friend Marjan had gone to the States and got it for me, and I was like, I want the physical book. I released it and let the next person read it. I said, I'm gonna wait because I need to touch it, feel it.
Shoot, do you read all of your books like that? Or was this one just particularly stimulating? Do you have all those tabs on them and all of that kind of stuff?
If I'm feeling a book, yeah. Like my copy of Love at Second Sight got tabs all through it. My own book.
You just be like, I love it. You gotta write. Also, Ayoka B, you gotta write. In the passage that you read, a lot of the language that we use as English speakers is anti-black. And probably Spanish speakers and French speakers just baked in anti-black. They were in a dark place, but they saw the light. In that passage, I really liked the exploration of the language and the linguistics of darkness.
It was like a reclamation of that word dark. Oh, Alabama. Yeah, so when the pieces start coming together, like Charlie was always this fix-it man and knew all these things about working with his hands and understanding the inner workings of things. So when that moment when I saw that, oh, he's going to be able to, that they need him. He's going to be able to be the one that's going to get them to the next phase of what they were trying to do. But when I found out that they the ones that made the event happen, I was like, oh shit, they tinkering around and it's them broke the world. Okay.
Or did it break the world or did it fix the world?
Well, I get what you're saying. I have to say that I felt bad, for the babies and, shit like that. I know, okay, you didn't, but I did because children are innocent. They're taught that. Now, the systems and everything, that the people created that perpetuate a lot of this thing. Yeah. I felt bad for the children.
Okay, but let me ask you this question. You've heard that little story about the scorpion. I've heard it various ways. But the scorpion who says to the frog, hey, can you give me a ride across the river? And the frog is like, hell no, I ain't giving you no ride. You're going to bite me. And the scorpion's like, I got to get across the river. You got to get across the river. Why would I bite you? That's just going to hurt me. Just give me a ride across the river. And the frog is like, okay. And then, of course, the scorpion is going to be a scorpion. There is a continuum of black and white, and it's a social construct. But I wonder, white people and black people are the same inherently. There is a cultural aspect in terms of, is it nature or is it nurture? There is a nurturing of certain things, but they're different. And that's why their cultures are different. That's a whole nother conversation. Maybe we should read Yurugu. I've been wanting to read that and talk about that. So maybe we should read Yurugu and explore her theory. I'll get you a link. It's an analysis of European culture. It's not fiction. It's nonfiction. It's an African-centered critique of European cultural something. And I heard about it years ago. It's weighty. I've started reading it, but I haven't finished it. But anyway.
Okay. I don't know if I can care that much to read it, but but I'll see.
I was like, well, Hitler, because at one point I thought, oh, Hitler was the worst. Now, Devil Leopold. But I would think, oh, Leopold was a child. They were a baby, and they were created to be that way. Everybody wants the same things. But now I'm kind of reevaluating that and rethinking that, and have been for some time. And I haven't shifted back the other way. I'm going more in the other direction the more I think about it and analyze it.
See, to me, and I know this is a different conversation, but to me, those two people, I truly think that some people are just the devil. They're just born evil. Nobody made them that way. They
Right.
just came out that way. Now, why? That's a whole nother, I don't know. But I believe that black people and white people are inherently different. I mean, just like I believe that brown people are in here. I think there are differences. However, I do think that, and I hate using the colors, but I don't know how else to identify, but I see commonalities in brown people and black people that I don't see with black people and white people, or brown people and white people, or indigenous people. And indigenous people, depending on what land mass you're on, are different colors. I know that inherently there are differences. However, science tells me that all life sprang from Africa. So I'm not a science person. I don't know how that evolution happens, like how you start the same and then change so drastically. I don't know. I don't really care to know. I just know that something happened. Was an event back then? Who knows? Who knows what somebody did? I don't really know. But something definitely happened.
Let's talk about our main character. Who were his people? How was he raised that he met this white girl and was with her for 3 or 4 days and fell madly in love with her to the point where he was still, after this, she had whited him and just let her brother dog him out, ruin his life, beat him, put him in jail. Where were his people?
Well, yeah.
What was his story?
Because they didn't talk about that. We heard about his mother. He had people, and he didn't have self-love. I mean, they talked about this one incident when he and his mom went to the restaurant and they were treated badly, and he understood why his mother hadn't wanted to go there in the first place. But we really didn't delve. He mentions his grandmother at some point too, but we don't hear about, it's like at 13 he was in this really good place, but then we don't know what happened up until, and I don't even know how old he was when that happened. I guess
I think he was college age.
Yeah, I was gonna say they must have been college age, because
That's what yeah.
he thought they were going to her dorm. But yeah, I agree. I don't know what went on in his family, or what, because the mother didn't die till later when he was in jail. So I don't know what went on.
And all the people,
like it was a drastic change.
right. I didn't even remember the mother and the grandmother, so maybe that's why when I was reading it, I was feeling like I was getting into his character. But in retrospect, I was kind of like, I have a cousin who is in jail, and the amount of reflection and retrospection and growth and development that he's done, and everybody is on their own path, but he's really thought about some things and done some deep analysis of himself and the world. But I don't understand, Charlie, in all of those years, you still, like, I guess it was like that wound that he couldn't touch but I'm like, this how we thinking about it after all these years?
You never know.
And all this trauma and all this effed upness.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. He got that letter from Sydney's mother that he when he got it, he read it that one time and never looked at it again, because he's like, okay, this trick gonna write me this letter saying I'm sorry, whatever,
Did she
whatever.
say she was sorry?
I don't know if she said she was sorry. She admitting what she did, and he never even used it to try to exonerate himself. Well, he told Sydney, asked him why he never used the letter, and he said he did once, but nobody believed him. We don't know what that does to somebody, to be labeled a rapist and lose 20 years of your life or however long it was. It also depends on what you're made of going in. And if he wasn't poured into going in, or at some point he was, but something changed and we didn't find out all of that. Because later when he's out and he goes to Alabama and he goes through this transformation of his mind, what he always goes back to, his safe place and a place where he reconnected to himself. It's always at that age when he was 13 and he would fix things and tinker things, and he was in his grandma's yard and laying on the ground or under the tree or whatever. That was a beautiful time for him. I don't know what changed between that time and later when he fell in love in 3 days with the white girl. And you can't know somebody in 3 days and what they will do, and obviously he didn't. In terms of him being in jail, why he didn't have that growth, I think it was a lot of anger and a lot of bitterness. When you have those feelings, you can't grow. It being unresolved. I've been in here all this time for something I didn't do. And then the other piece of it is, it depends on what your time was like. There are people who are fighting to stay alive every day. There are people who are fighting not to get raped and everything else every day. When you have to live like that, I don't know how much time you get to go to that tender, vulnerable place to heal yourself. It just depends on how your time is. If you're physically in a space where you can do that. Because I'm being real, all jails and all prisons are not the same. Some of them are, if you just make it out literally alive, that's a miracle. But all the stuff that happens along the way, and unfortunately that you have to do to stay alive along the way.
And everybody is not the same. So one person might have an effective strategy going in that creates some kind of space for them, and another person may have a strategy that means that they just constantly, so yeah. Speaking of spaces that heal or spaces that don't heal, when I lived in Mississippi, I went to Mardi Gras. I had been to Mardi Gras when I was in college because I used to do the Black College circuit. So I would go to Howard's Homecoming, I would go to Mardi Gras, I go to Freaknik. In my crew, we traveled around to different black stuff.
Yeah, Freaknik. Okay.
Yeah, of course. I'm that age, and my girl was at Howard, so I was in that black. We traveled. We had friends. So I had been to Mardi Gras in New Orleans when I was in college, and then when I moved to that region of the country, I went to Mardi Gras a couple times. Zulu Parade is a big conversation on social media now, but I've been to the Zulu Parade a couple of times. Also, when I lived there, I went to the Mardi Gras in Mobile because one of my cousins-in-law, he was a part of an organization. I went for a ball. So I was so excited to see that aspect of Mobile culture and history. There's like an Africa town in Mobile and like all kinds of stuff. I was so excited to see that part of that region of the country being explored. I've heard, and I'm not actually a person who does a lot of reviews, but for some reason, Iyapo has been listening to YouTube conversations about the book, so I've heard them. But I heard someone talking about how they were really disturbed by how the South was portrayed because of the zombie, like the people, remember we saw those people who were down, and they were just sitting on the porches, and they were like
Oh,
suspended. They were like in suspended
oh,
animation and didn't
okay.
really, you know. I like that there were so many different characterizations of the ways that we might respond to that type of
People
thing.
were impacted, yeah.
But I didn't think of them as the representative of the South. I thought of the kingdom or the community as the representation of
Me
the South. And
too.
I love seeing that Mobile Mardi Gras backdrop like that.
The other day I saw a clip online. It was one of those news shows that do features or whatever. It was a black guy. I can't think of his name. And he shows, it was something having to do with masks. And it made me think of the book because they talked about the black Indians that would have this parade and have these dances, and they would wear these elaborate outfits. He makes those costumes that they wear, the elaborate costumes, and it's this intricate beadwork that he does. He has a group. They're in these parades, and I think they were called the Young Seminoles. So it was and I was like, oh, they talk about that in the book with the parade in Mobile. I'm not saying that right. How do you say it?
I say Mobile, but I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I'm
Okay.
committed.
Okay. But how they would have the separate Mardi Gras parade because when black people couldn't be involved in it, but how also it was, I want to say, blacks and Indians and blacks and Mexicans that would be part of this other parade. So I liked seeing that in there and then
Yeah.
seeing it in real life.
Yeah, I remember the Black Indians, but I don't remember them associated with Mobile. I remember them associated with New Orleans. And we had something in Hattiesburg, and some people came from the organization, the group, and talked about the history and the legacy. And it was inspiring. I remember I was just like, ah. I
Okay.
just want to say one thing that I feel is really, really problematic with the book that I neglected to say before. So he go to D.C., he go to Mobile, he go to Chicago. Why he go to Detroit? I mean, Detroit is obviously the center of the black world. I mean, I don't really understand. You know, he
Oh,
talk about
Lord,
Haiti.
have mercy on my soul.
Yeah, no,
There was a mention of Detroit in there.
yeah, girl, that don't count. That don't count. I've said almost everything that I wanted to say. He did a good job. I don't think it was perfect, but what is? I
Right,
think it was really, as far as a creative endeavor goes, it's a A plus because it's his creation, it's his offering, and there was a lot of value in it. Somebody I was listening to said that they really hated when it got to Mobile. They felt like it was a whole different book when they got to Alabama, and they did not like where the book went. I've heard critiques that I just don't agree with. I was surprised. What is wrong with these people? Everybody is entitled
well,
to have their own
right,
experience,
right.
but
Well, I have one thing I have learned, which is logical. When people review books or how they feel about a book, the criteria is subjective from person to person to person. People can hate a book that was beautifully written. You have this strong story and great story that was told well and characters that are solidly developed. But if the story does not go the way that person feels like it should go, they're going to give it a low rating or they're going to hate it. Whereas the person next to them, same exact book, the story didn't go like they thought it was going to go, but would give a great rating. So the how people feel, it has more to do with what's going on with them and what's inside them than what a written work is. That's how you get these range of reviews and things like that. But going back to when M recommended it, She said that she's heard people just that couldn't get past the event, but she really wants people to not focus on that, but focus on the possibility and the hopefulness and the freedom and people's ability after that to be able to look at themselves and fall in love with themselves. So I can remember her saying that, and I'm like, oh, okay, I really gotta get this book, because I wanted to read it, and just see for myself what I felt about it. I liked the end in Mobile. I wanted to know what happened, but I did like that ending. But the in terms of Sydney, that made me feel kind of weird. I didn't know how to feel about that. I liked that she had gotten to it seemed like she had gotten to a certain place where she was loving herself and seeing herself as a worthy person, and accepting that she had been taught wrong. She had she had been done dirty. but I was kind of bothered with her ending.
Yeah.
I wanted her back with her daddy because I felt like both of them needed that.
Each other.
Yeah, I guess that was my other critique, if I have one, that I wanted that to be different.
Yeah, he could have just cut Sydney out the book for me. Like, he could have been like, oh, I found out that my daughter is in Orange County and I didn't know I had a daughter, so I'm going on this quest. And then he could have just never found her, but found the people in Orange County, all of that. One thing that I did think was interesting, notable, but her matted hair, her being elegant with her hair straightened. The queen's daughters embraced her and helped her get her grooming together.
I love that. Like when the women put their hands on her and what she looked like when she came out, I was like, oh, she needed that. She needed to be loved up on.
And they kept talking about her matted hair, and I was just kind of like, I have encountered, I remember once in Detroit, one of my goddess sisters had a relative-in-law who they ended up having to cut her hair. Her hair was just like not being taken care of. And she was in a black household. But I had never really seen a black child whose hair was matted. Last season when we talked to the woman who has the bookstore, and she talked, and I could kind of imagine it a little more in the context of a white. So anyway, just the hair matting and the hair, I appreciated that conversation.
And remember, it had been at least a year since the event. So she wanted to die. I mean, I guess she didn't really, really want to die, but she had attempted it when it happened, trying to follow them. But she obviously went through a depression and was still in a depression, so she not doing nothing to herself and just laying on it. And so there you go.
And why didn't she have locks? Maybe her hair was too straight to lock, but I guess matting is a form of locking. I would like to see the visual of that in terms of the representation of the characters, not just mental health, but their relationship with themselves. From the perspective of a black writers group, as a black writer, a recommendation or conversation with black writers, I think it's definitely a book that is worth reading because it's just good. Writer to writer, it's a really good book because of that aspect of imagining a world. Our job as creatives is to create the vision. We create reality. Our vision, our art is creative. And so the assignment to look at this piece and like it, love it, hate it, whatever, but use it as stimulation and inspiration to tell your own story of us free.
His world building, whether you agreed with the story, the premise, whatever, is undeniable. So you can suck it. It's undeniable. His world building, his characterization, his character development. I mean, his prose as a writer, he's knocked it out of the park.
The challenge to other black writers is let's go out and build some more worlds, world after world after world after world of Black Us Free. Let's all take this as a challenge.
And yeah, I mean, writing while black, that's the assignment. That's the charge. That you are writing what you want to write. You are writing what brings you joy. You are writing not to a trend, not because of who you think might pick it up. Like, what's with the scissors?
Girl, I'm giving you a microphone. What does writing while black mean to you? I used to, for my children, I have this fake mic, but I don't have it out anymore. So all I have is the scissors or the lip gloss.
Your world building doesn't have to be as drastic as all the white people walk into the closest body of water. But when you write it how you see it, how you want it, how your world is. Toni Morrison, when she was asked about writing, I don't remember what the stupid ass question was, but what I'm writing for my people, I'm writing my world how I see it. This is the world that I'm creating. If I choose to have them, I do. If I don't, I don't. But this is my story. I'm writing it how I see it. And as black writers, that's what the charge is. Your character is how happy and full and humongous you want them to be. And don't apologize for it.
All right. So is that the last word?
Yeah, that's the last word. Read it, and decide for yourself.
Yeah, let us know what you think.
The comments are open, people. The comments are open.
The comments are open, and I'm giving an applause. I love it. I think it's great. So, is there anything else? What do we usually do at the end of an episode? Do we have a system?
No, that's it.
Writing while black. Writing while black.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Writing While Black. We come out every Wednesday. So check out the next episode coming soon. Season 1 is already up and out, currently on YouTube and Spotify. Ayoka, your
Love It Second Sight. You can find it at bookshop.org and all the places. I push bookshop.org, your library, your independent bookstores. I also have a series of 4 poetry books. You can go to my link tree too. And Mike's story is coming.
All right. Love Soiree is coming. It's part of the Love by Tamu Tamu Agency series. And Affirming Black Love, the series is out. It's an 11-book series full of affirmations for those of us who love affirmations, and also some essays to think about and reflect on and love yourself and grow into. So we'll see you next time. Keep reading, keep writing, keep growing and developing. Right on? Right on.
Oh boy.
Reading, learning, grinding, creating, work, building, living, thinking, healing, loving, living, doing, writing while black, black, black.